Hi everyone, and welcome to the Say As It Is with Pete podcast series. I'm Pete, your host, and each week I will bring you some frank and honest conversations covering various topics from learning and development, apprenticeships, funding, HR, strengths, recruitment, ESG, well-being, ED&I, employability, and much, much more. So let's get this week's episode underway and say as it is. Welcome to another episode of Say As It Is with Pete. I am Pete, your host as always. And in this episode, I'm going to go over some important changes about apprenticeship. So before, in episode 1 of season 5, I spoke about the landscape and the changes of apprenticeships and kind of what's happening and what's due to happen. But now there's been more kind of light shone upon everything. And to be honest, it's a little bit shocking, really, but hey, that's the way that the cookie crumbles, I guess. So what I want to do is just go over some of those changes and how it looks. So with apprenticeships now, everything comes under the Department of Work and Pensions, and Skills for England. So the ESFA and the DFE have kind of dissolved slightly and gone into DWP, which is something that was on the cards for a very long time, and now it's happened. Do I think that's right? No, it's just the government combining departments to make it more simple for them, but not for everybody else, because DWP does a lot, and they drive me insane. So that's another story and another episode. But some of these changes. So on the 16th of March 2026, this year, the government announced the expansion of the Youth Guarantee Scheme, offering an additional 90 million investment over the next 3 years. So this is some funding to get young people back into work. So this is going to be looking at or this will actually fund an expansion of what they call the Jobs Guarantee Scheme to include 20 to 24-year-olds and hiring incentives for employers recruiting young people on universal credit and at risk of long-term unemployment, so NEET, which is great. But also the government is also reforming the Growth and Skills Levy, which was called the Levy, which then changed to the Growth and Skills Levy. And this is to prioritise young apprentices. So there's now a focus away from kind of apprenticeships for all, which I think is, excuse my language, dumb as fuck, because pre-2017 it was all age restricted and the funding came directly from the government. And then they reformed the apprenticeship system back in 2017 to look at how that could change, and it became a kind of a tax or a levy on the employer. So 5% of pay of an employee's pay, hourly pay, will go on to become part of the apprenticeship levy. So that then meant that some employers that had a payroll of over 3 million paid the levy. Those that didn't wouldn't have a levy, and they would only pay either 5 or 10% of the overall apprenticeship cost. So that could be £300-400, £500. But now, going near enough 10 years later, we are going backwards with the focus just on young people. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, but we're going backwards. We are going backwards. This happens with governments, and I'll explain why later. So, as I said, the government is also reforming that new Growth and Skills Levy to prioritise young apprentices, building on the announcement made by the Chancellor on a package of additional investment to deliver the next phase of the Growth and Skills Levy. So this includes further incentives for non-levy paying employers who are recruiting 16 to 24-year-olds or apprentices, and also launching new apprenticeship units and streaming the apprenticeship system to ensure funding goes where it needs the most. It's all good fun. So what does that really mean? Well, we're kind of screwed, because what it means is a major kind of employment drive is backed by large and small businesses, and obviously Tom Kerridge as well, to look at getting more young people into work after a 37% increase of apprenticeships between 21 and 24. So an additional 1 billion to be invested in grants to help unlock over 200,000 paid jobs for young people, with job guarantee to be expanded, as I said, to the ages of 18 to 24, and new foundation apprenticeships in hospitality and retail with up to £2,000 per employer to support a 16 to 24-year-old into work. Okay, let me just be clear on this one. And I'm going to take a deep breath. So the Hospitality Foundation Apprenticeship doesn't even exist yet. It still hasn't been written, and it's currently being written at the moment. And all this takes effect this year. It's not going to be ready in time. So there are so many things going on. So, the Chancellor, so I should say actually, the speech by the Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden, did state that it has a new deal for young people, and this includes the Youth Job Grant, through which businesses will receive $3,000 for every young person they hire aged 18 to 24 who has been on universal credit and looking for work for 6 months. This is expected to support 60,000 young people over 3 years. Guess what? I can tell you that youth guarantee, or that £3,000, is going to be capped at some point. We'll go away, come and smell the coffee, because it will be. I've seen it in the past. They only allow so many or so much of it. Then the expansion of the jobs guarantee is to wider the age range from 18 to 21. Because it's currently 18 to 21, and they want to take it from 18 to 21 to 18 to 24, so expand it a little bit more and create more than 35,000 extra subsidised jobs, and this brings a total to be supported through the scheme to over 90,000 in the next 3 years. And this is where some of the other funding comes in, or some other grants. So there is an apprenticeship incentive of £2,000 for each new employee aged 16 to 24 taken by an SME, so small medium enterprise business, as part of a wider reform to drive. But there's also still a £1,000 incentive for employers to take people. You know, Keir Starmer has said that backing young people is one of the most important investments that we can make in this country's future. We are determined to tackle the rise of youth unemployment by expanding practical routes into work, boosting apprenticeships, and give employers the clarity they need. There's not much clarity really, to be honest with you, Keir Starmer, and it's a load of bullshit. So these reforms underpin our ambition to create an economy that works for everyone, closing the skills gap and supporting more young people into meaningful employment. Don't get me wrong, I'm a social value advocate, and I do a lot of stuff in social value. And, you know, I fully agree that we need to get people, especially NEET or young people aged 16 to 24, back into work. But there's other ways of doing it as well, and incentivising employers that is then going to be capped and everything else. So in some cases, they're saying that the payment will be on a 30-day and then a 60-day notice. There's still no clarity over it, and unfortunately, they write the policies but never get anything right. But also, it's key to note that the Work and Pension Secretary, Matt McFadden, get my words out, he said these measures will give life-changing opportunities to young people and significantly rise the increase in significantly reverse the increase we inherited in those not in education, employment and training. We are focusing on funding where it is needed most and giving employers the flexibility to support those that need to get into work. These reforms will give young people a vital step into a career ladder and help businesses, leaders recruit the talent that will grow their companies. Yeah, okay. And Tom Kerridge, who's a Michelin star chef, he said, "I welcome this announcement, which will provide amazing opportunities to young people looking to get into the industry and others to learn a trade and earn along the way." I agree. I've trained apprentices in my restaurants, and I know what great start it gives them in their careers, and these incentives will give our industry a great boost. I'm pleased Pat McFadden has made this a priority. Yeah, I do, but the foundation apprenticeship in hospitality is not there. And, I sit on a ball with the Skills for England to write some of the qualifications. We're still writing them, so I don't know what they're talking about. But foundation apprenticeships, okay, so foundation apprenticeships are going to be these amazing new things that come out as it's kind of a stepping stone into doing an apprenticeship. So from April 2016, the government are expanding foundation apprenticeships into hospitality and retail sectors. We're not even there yet, so it's still to come. So these sectors traditionally employ large numbers of young people and offers entry posts into sustained employment with clear progression routes across England. And we do. And I know this. So your question now, what are foundation apprenticeships? Well, what are they? Foundation apprenticeships are kind of jobs with training at a level 2. So we're now taking the level 2 and we're now calling it what it's always been called, a foundation apprenticeship, but we're boxing it off a bit different. So the level 2 provides a broad curriculum focused on job-specific knowledge and skills while developing employability skills and behaviours to support the transition from education to work. They offer entry-level occupational competence and support employers to key sectors to meet their current and future skills. Foundation apprenticeships are already available in construction and the built environment, engineering and manufacturing, health and social care, and digital. But from April 2026, and we're in April now, new foundation apprenticeships will be available in catering and hospitality, retail service and supply and administration. Yeah, I'm not really seeing these just yet. So the expansion into these other occupations is obviously key, and funding will be from the apprenticeship levy and will be under the funding rules. But again, there is an age and duration to these apprenticeships. So the foundation apprenticeships will only be, these are level 2 in those areas, will only be available to young people aged 16 to 21 and 22 to 24 for those with an education, health and care plan, and are care leaver or a prisoner or prison leaver. So foundation apprenticeships have a minimum duration of 18 months. Duration is better. Normally an apprenticeship foundation or a foundation apprenticeship level 2 is normally 12 months. So having it for 8 months is perfect and is in line with other apprenticeships. The minimum hours of study for each foundation apprenticeship are set out in the standard. And which I agree. So, look, I totally agree with the foundation apprenticeships. So looking at the foundation apprenticeships, and I'm currently looking at the Skills for England website at the moment while I'm doing this, and catering hospitality foundation apprenticeship is now there, and it has finally now been approved on the 1st of April 2026. It's level 2 and it's 8 months. So it is there, which is great. We have one in building service engineering. We have one in engineering and manufacturing. There is one in finishing trades foundation, hardware, network and infrastructure. There's also health and social care, other trades foundation apprenticeship, and software and data foundation apprenticeship. So all at 8 months, all vary in maximum funding. So maximum funding is between 3,000 to, well, I'm looking at 4,000. So they are out there, and it's nice to see that catering and hospitality is actually there, which is great. So I'm looking at this now, and it's only going to cover a couple of things. So let me just explain, because obviously I work in hospitality, so this is my kind of bread and butter, right? So to give you an idea about the foundation apprenticeship, okay, they are included occupations of commis chef, production chef, and food and beverage team member. There's no housekeeping. This is ridiculous. This won't even work for the sector I am. So foundation apprenticeships for our sector is not correct. It won't be right. So for example, it maps into various other things, but not into, it just maps into commis chef, production chef, and food and beverage team member. So again, it's things like your knowledge, so technical knowledge, technical skills, and then it comes into employability skills. So it's a great thing because employability skills in a foundation apprenticeship will look at communication, so verbal, non-verbal, written and digital. It will look at how you act in a professional manner, how you apply learning and feedback every day, how you complete your work tasks and help when needed, working with colleagues, so teamwork, contribution, seek ways to manage own financial health well-being needs using available resources, overcome challenges to adapt changes to work, and then also work in line with health, safety and environmental requirements. And then you've got skills like select the correct knives, weights and measurements, ingredients and scales, serve food and beverage to individuals, in a business in itself, tailors communication techniques to meet customers' needs and builds rapport, deals and escalates issues. So these are things that are related only to commis chef, production chef and food and beverage team member. It does not meet all of the hospitality. So it's a pile of piss, basically. They didn't think this through. Hello, there are other departments that are there and that are skilled, and I'm sick and tired to hear that housekeeping isn't a skilled job. It is. To clean a room and to get a room to standard, it's a skill, and there's lots of skills in this. I tell you, I had a argument years ago with a external quality assurer from Pearson's on this and at Excel, and I put them in their place, and I continue to put them in their place. So yeah, so the foundation apprenticeships, I do agree, they're great. 8 months, it's great for someone new coming into industry, and employers, if you can use these foundation apprenticeships, use them, but be mindful. Again, they're 8 months, and the idea is that you take it from a foundation into an actual apprenticeship. So these are kind of pre-apprenticeships really, before going on to the actual apprenticeships. So the other update, and there's a big update, so please bear with me. So the other update, this is the level 2 apprenticeship opportunity. So they're also launching a new apprenticeship called the Level 2 Administrative Assistant. And it's aimed specifically, again, at 16 to 24-year-olds. So this apprenticeship will be available from August 2026 and will provide a new opportunity for young people and career starters. So that's not available yet, and it's currently in production and being created by Trailblazers and Assessment Boards, etc., with Skills for England and those people that are on there. And it's a shame I'm not on that one, but I've got too much going on in my life to worry about that. But again, this is a brand new one, and to be honest, the Level 2 Administrative Assistant apprenticeship has been missing for a long time. Business admin was taken out a long time ago. I remember from when it was in frameworks and it went to standards, it kind of disappeared. It wasn't needed. And the old Level 2 framework was very much of how to use a phone, how to use a printer, how to answer the telephone, how to communicate, how to deal with emails, best way of communication. I've still got all the frameworks and the standards, so it's like going back in time. But it's good it's coming out, so I'm intrigued to see where that goes. And I'm sure when the standards are released, I'm going to have a look at that. And I will investigate a little bit more with you on that one, because I think this year is going to be an interesting year for season 5 when we look at apprenticeships in a bit more. So yeah, be prepared for that one. But again, as you can see, it's age restricted. What the hell? Then apprenticeship units. Yes, we have apprenticeship units. Now this doesn't if I remember rightly, this isn't age restricted. This is actually a bit better. This is not going to be age restricted. But it's at different levels. So what it says is from April 2026, the government is launching the first apprenticeship units. It seems like we're going back to frameworks, people, and NVQ units. Bring back the old days, they say. But yes, so for the first time, you will be able to use the levy, or employers will be able to use their levy, funding for training that is not an apprenticeship. Let's go back. So the first few new apprenticeship units being released focus on priority sectors and allow you to upskill your workforce quickly and flexibly, which is fine because there's no age restriction. Okay. So, what does this mean? Okay, so what are they? So there's the first 7. Okay, the first 7 apprenticeship units are now here. So what are they? Well, I'm proud to announce they are the following, and I was surprised by this. So there's AI leadership, so developing an AI strategy, electric vehicle charging point installation and maintenance, electrical fitting and assembly, mechanical fitting and assembly, permanent modular building assembly, solar PV installation and maintenance, and welding mechanized. So Skills for England identified these units based on evidence of the skills gaps employers need. Really? No. So they target immediate shortages in areas that will drive productivity and growth. No. So training providers will be contacted confirming the conditions and eligibility for delivering these apprenticeship units on the 30th of March. So we just passed that now. So providers are working on that. And we encourage them or us to speak to the providers about what the future plans are. So in April, they will publish details and the funding rates, etc. So I am now currently looking at the foundation apprenticeship units, or the not the foundation apprenticeship units, the apprenticeship units. So let me go over them with you. There's actually a new one that's come out. So it's called Battery Manufacturing Apprenticeship Unit. Then we have the solar, we have the electric vehicle, the electrical fitting, the welding, the mechanical fitting and assembly, AI leadership, and the permanent modular building assembly. Now, these are all at different levels. So level 2s, 3s, and level 5. And level 5 is the AI element. So I'm going to go on to the AI one because I know that's something I've been looking at with our team, and it says on Skills England's website, approved for delivery from 17th of March 2026. So there's no, to what I see, there is no funding. It says this apprenticeship unit has been published for information purposes. We plan to publish the delivery hours and funding rates in April. We're here. At which point we will also confirm when in April the apprenticeship unit will be available for delivery. It isn't available yet, guys. It's there. You can read it. You can find out a bit more about it. But no one knows anything about it. Typical. Government have released these units to go, yes, you can upskill your staff, but we're not there yet. So because it give time for those providers to look at it, to get things ready. Not really, there's not enough time. So what I would recommend to most employers who are listening to this, and also to individuals, is the first round of people that go through this, there'll be changes. There will be. So it's going to be an absolute nightmare, because what this does is this apprenticeship unit for AI leadership is a combination of different apprenticeships where it's pulled stuff in from them to build the unit. So the occupational standards where this was pulled from, so other apprenticeships being pulled from, is the Artificial Intelligence, AI and Automation Practitioner Apprenticeship, the Chartered Management degree, the Machine Learning Engineer Apprenticeship, and the Senior Leader Apprenticeship, which the Senior Leader Apprenticeship doesn't exist anymore. So what it does is it gives you your technical knowledge, it gives you your technical skills, and it gives you some knowledge and skills outcomes that you can look at. So for example, the functions that it kind of covers are AI strategy and organizational direction, AI procurement, investment and adoption, governance, ethics and responsible AI, interesting, enterprise risk audit and incident readiness, leadership delivery and organizational change, communication, trust and external engagement, and workforce transformation and capability building, which is all really good. But again, it says that the apprenticeship units are currently eligible for anyone at the moment, but at the moment they are not ready to be delivered yet. So validation and assessment, this is an interesting one. So it's got two options here, mandatory and an extended. So mandatory, it says, as a minimum, learners will need to pass a skills test delivered by the training provider to demonstrate that they have acquired the skills and knowledge set in the apprenticeship unit. Employers will need to validate the result to confirm that the learner has been successful. So this is a joint delivery between apprenticeship provider and employer-led. Perfect. Extended. In addition, employers or learners have the option to choose an independent external assessment where they feel it is appropriate, for example, through the use of non-mandatory qualifications. If the apprenticeship unit is a regulated occupation and the role requires adherence to industry required standards and procedures, we would accept employers to choose an extended assessment. Well, that's always interesting. I think I'm going to do another podcast on this one as well, looking at apprenticeship units. There's still more to come. There's still more. Sorry, guys. This is going to be a long podcast. I'm really sorry, but this is the update, and you're getting my frank conversation on this one. So let's just recap a bit. So obviously we've had the changes and the skills and levy growth and the youth guarantee, and again, it's focused on 16 to 24-year-olds. Foundation apprenticeships, 16 to 24-year-olds. The level 2 administration assistant is coming out, but that's not until August 2026. And we have apprenticeship units that are ready from April. Well, they're not ready. They're published as information only, but they're nowhere near ready yet. So more information to come on those. So streamlining apprenticeships. This is a big one. Mamma mia. So I think this was the biggest shock for me. Yes and no, it was and it wasn't. So streamlining apprenticeship. So the government has reviewed the existing apprenticeship offer they have, okay, which has grown to more than 700 apprenticeship standards since 2017 when it moved from frameworks to standards. And this was to focus investment on young people and critical skills gaps and create new opportunities, which we understand. So this streamlined offer will make it simpler for young people and employers to navigate with clear pathways into skilled jobs. I find it a joke when I'm reading this to you. So they say that they have identified, DWP have identified this announcement will be of interest to obviously employers and employees, etc., as their records show that we have an active apprenticeship, which we do, and we've been involved. I've been involved in apprenticeships for the last 10 plus years, even longer to be honest. And you know, the big thing about this streamline of the apprenticeships is it's coming from September 2026, and I kind of gathered that date from when I look at this. So yes, here we go. So this is the big thing. So from September 2026, the government will withdraw government-funded or funding for 16 existing apprenticeship standards. All existing learners on these apprenticeship standards will continue to be funded through the completion. So let me make this clear. I'm going to read the withdrawals out to you. I am going to read them to you. And these means that these are apprenticeships that the government have deemed not worthy anymore, and they're going to take them away. And if you're on one, or you've got employees on one, then they're still valid while they're still actively on it. Or if they enroll now on it, they will still get to do it. So come end of September, once they're withdrawn, if they're actively on it and learning, they'll still be able to finish it and still gain the qualification. So that's a bonus, okay? So, as it says, there are generic leadership and management apprenticeships, and there are, that have grown significantly, but are, being used for continuous professional development and have been used for established staff aged 25 and over, and they are Chartered Management Degree Level 6, Operational Manager Level 5, and Team Leader Level 3. And to be honest, yes, it's probably upskilled staff over 25 or even below that age through their career development. I've put people on this that are not even 25 and they've done it. So hello. So they're saying that those apprenticeships are being used more for 25 and overs. So Chartered Management Degree Level 6 is going, Operations Manager Level 5 is going, and Team Leader Level 3 is going. Goodbye the management suite. Because Senior Leader Level 7 went in January when they withdrew the funding and the apprenticeship. So 3, 5, 6 and 7 are gone. They're going from September. 7 has already gone, but 3, 5 and 6 is going for good. So what they will also withdraw funding for is a further 13 apprenticeships. So there's 16 in total. And these apprenticeship standards that do not significantly support young people or align with the government's industrial strategy or form a core part of career pathways. They are you ready? Here they are. I'll explain why I'm gutted. Cleaning hygiene operative level 2, coaching professional level 5, custody and detention professional level 3, facilities management supervisor level 3, improvement leader level 6, improvement practitioner level 4, lead practitioner in adult care level 4, learning and skills assessor level 3, learning and skills mentor level 4, outdoor learning specialist level 5, professional security operative level 2, public sector compliance investigation and officer level 3, and security first line manager level 3. So quite a lot there, right? So there is all of the management suite and all of the kind of L&D coaching, mentoring, and yeah, they're gone, absolutely gone. So not great. We were expecting some HR ones to go, and the HR and L&D ones, and some of the L&D ones have gone, and some of the adult care ones have gone as well. And two of the biggest ones for me, I would say 5 of the biggest for me, is the management ones: team leader, operations manager, and chartered degree. They're 3 big ones for me. Cleaning hygiene operative level 2, facilities management supervisor level 3, and then some of the where it's got the learning and skills mentor is another one as well. An improvement leader and practitioner also. So a few more that are really bugbearers. Now, the reason why I'm a bit pissed with this is because the management suite is completely gone. No longer there anymore. And the cleaning operative level 2, I've just launched an apprenticeship swap program with my training provider GLP. And this is to focus on the youth guarantee and get people into job with the focus of 18 to 24 year olds, with the focus of getting them in at entry level, placing them on a cleaning operative apprenticeship level 2 that lasts 9 months, to then take them on to supervisor, team leader, everything else. Well, guess what? When that announcement was made, I could have cried, and I still could cry, because I've had to restructure my career pathways. And I've built my career pathways within my organisation around some of these qualifications, and I've had to go back to the drawing board. Luckily, GLP have been really, really good, and GLP have come to the table with alternate options, which is fantastic. And looking at those, I can take something forward and work with that, but it's not ideal. So they've gone. So I'm not happy. Not happy. So they're taking them away. So it says that training providers will give us updates. But the biggest thing with this as well is that when they have announced they're removing these 16 apprenticeships, it doesn't really help. So you're probably thinking, hang on a minute, they say that they're taking away, they're withdrawing funding. Well, actually, why are they making that change? And this is the official statement from the government's website, which is, and it says, over the past decade, apprenticeships starts for young people have fallen by 40%. And they have, because apprenticeships don't always get the best rap. So while over half of all starts are now learners aged 25 or over, the apprenticeship offer has grown to more than 700 standards, with some no longer aligned with the skills needs to program as designed to address. So, to refocus investment on young people and critical skills gaps, the government worked with employers and Skills England to streamline the range of apprenticeships available, and will start to withdraw funding for some standards from September 2026. And that's that list I've just read, by the way. So apprenticeships remain a vital route to business, and these changes will help employers support more young people into work while also meeting upskilling needs in a more targeted way. Okay, so what I just want to say is, I'm going to be absolutely honest with this one, and I'm going to be frank. What the fuck? Their statement says in there, which I always laugh, says, we worked with employers and Skills England. You didn't work with employers. or the ones you worked with are probably the biggest paying levy payers that don't even spend their levy. But what you didn't do was come and speak to other employers, because employers and training providers are sitting there going, what the fuck? Who did you speak to? Seriously, because most employers would not get rid of the cleaning operative, the chartered management degree, the operation manager, the team leader. We wouldn't have got rid of them. We would have kept them. They're fundamental for our pathways and development for people to grow. I want to launch a supervisor apprenticeship and bring 18 to 24-year-olds into the business under a team leader supervisor. I've got to do that now before the cut-off in September. I was going to launch this in September. I'm screwed. I've got to bring it forward. My God. But also, what the key thing is on this one as well, guys, and I have to say it, is the government make these decisions and they're nuts because they don't really speak to anybody. They say they have, they haven't. I want to know who they spoke to be honest with you. I'm going to put an information request in. I want to know. So it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. But again, their focus is on young people. It's 16 to 24s. And I'm going to say this because what I find is, I'm going to say this, I went into apprenticeships when funding sat with the government and the government paid providers for the number of people they put on, and funding was restricted. So funding was was restricted to 16 to 18, 19 to 24, and then 25 plus. So 16 to 18, there was a higher level of funding. 19 to 24, there's a little bit less. 25 plus, there was barely any funding. Because, again, the government focused on young people and apprenticeships. That's where their focus was. So the more young people they got on apprenticeships, the better. And it all became age restricted. Now, mind you, the 16 apprenticeships that are going, they're going. Tough luck. We can sit and debate this for hours upon hours upon hours about how we're going to get them back. We ain't until we get another government, right? We ain't. Or we wait another 10 years and they reform apprenticeships again and it goes back. Okay, so we're stuck with this. We have to deal with it. As employers, as providers, we're screwed. But also the saddest thing is some of these apprenticeships that are being delivered are what some providers just solely deliver. So there will be providers in September, end of the year, going out of business because they won't have the functionality to deliver them, and it's their business gone overnight basically. But what the government are doing is they're capping providers on how many they can have, based on what their starts on the previous year were, based on what their intake can be for this one. So there's a lot of cap. There is. And I have got a friend that works for a large public sector organisation. I'm not going to say who, but we had a conversation the other day, and he comes from apprenticeships. I come from apprenticeship background. We had a really good conversation, and we can see where this is going, and it's nuts. And this is where employers will then say, well, what's the point of apprenticeships if the government keeps doing this? Yeah, well, their backlash to you is, well, we'll give you incentives, but then they're going to put caps on incentives as well. I know it. I can see it coming. They've done it before, and they'll do it again. So, yeah, government, what are you doing? We're going back to pre-standards. But what I think, especially with the apprenticeship units, I think we're probably going to be going back to frameworks at some point. I know we'll probably go back to frameworks. You can, quote me wrong if you want, but I've got a feeling at some point we might get rid of standards and go to frameworks. Because if we're introducing apprenticeship units, I can see where it's going, and I've still got all the frameworks and all the different units that used to be done. It's great. Interesting times. But the changes still don't stop. It's nuts. So now, the biggest thing, and this is not really for employees to know, but well, if you're an employee and you're listening, great, then you've got a kind of a heads up. But for employers and those that are L&D practitioners or L&D, managers, heads of, apprenticeship leads, whatever you are, that oversees apprenticeships, HR directors, please, HR directors and those within organisations like CEOs and stuff, wake up and smell the fucking coffee and listen to what your apprenticeship team is saying, or listen to your L&D team, because they know their shit and I know my shit, and I've got to battle this one out anyway. But apprenticeship system changes are coming as well. So it's not just the apprenticeships, it's also the apprenticeship system changes. So what's coming is, from the autumn budget, they announced that they would reduce the expiry of funds from a 24-month period to a 12-month period for levy-paying employers. So The new 12-month expiry period will only apply for funds entering your account from the 1st of April onwards. So any funds already in your accounts before the date will continue to follow the 24-month rule. So whatever you've got in there now, so the best way to go is up until August, whatever you've got, so up until July 31st, whatever is in your pot is your pot, and will still be spent over 24 months. So that's okay. But all the new funds that are coming in, you have 12 months to spend it. The government are filling their pockets. Now, 2.9 billion of unpaid levy currently, I think there is, that's gone back to the Treasury, and the Treasury have distributed it elsewhere into different forms of avenues, wherever it may have gone and disappeared into a black hole. But again, they're claiming that funding back. Now employers are going to go back to what they were saying 10 years ago is, well, this was just a tax then, wasn't it? And they won't spend it. And there are employers that won't spend it, and what a lot of employers are not spending their levy now, they're looking to gift it away as well. And you can gift away some of your levy if you wanted to. So normally within your levy that you currently get, you get a 10% top up. So as a levy paying employer, where you benefit from a 10% top up, which we do as my company, to the monthly funds entering your account, what is going to happen is that they are going. So they're saying significant surplus accumulate over time and are not spent, giving the illusion of excess funding in the system, which leads to frustration. So this is why from the 1st of August 2026 they will no longer add the 10% top up. So existing funding in your levy account which had the 10% top up applied will remain the same, and then the removal of the 10% will come from any new money going in from the 1st of August. So that 10% top up you ain't going to get. It wasn't a lot. In some cases it wasn't, depending on what you're reporting, the number of employees in England were, and that's what it's based on. So that 10% top up is going. So from the 1st of August, you don't get your 10%, and whatever money comes in on the 1st of August, you have to spend within 12 months, because if not, you lose it. And then the only extra thing that will change is the employer co-investment rate. So currently, once your levy account funds are exhausted and they're gone, the government will pay 95% of training and assessment costs, with employers contributing the 5%. So from August 2026, the government funding rate will change to 75% for training providers and assessments, and employers will pay the rest. So instead of paying 5%, you're now paying 25%. Thank God. So employers will continue to benefit from the 95% rate of co-investments existing apprentices on programme once the funds have exhausted. So yes, so once your funds are all gone and you've got no pennies, what will happen is you'll need to pay 25% of the funding. So look, let's calculate this, right? So I'll give you a real life example. So for example, if you're doing an apprenticeship that is 5,000, you are only going to be paying 5%. So 4,750 will be covered by the government, whereas the other 250 of that is paid by you. So as an employer right now, you would literally pay so as an employer you would literally pay around about 250 quid, I think, at the 95% rate. Now when you're looking at the new total, what's going to happen is that you are going to be looking at a different total, which is higher, because you end up then going to be paying 25%. So you're going to be paying about 1,250. So you're probably paying an extra £1,000 on top compared to the 250 that you would pay normally. So let's just be mindful of that one, because that's going to be a big thing, and my maths should work out correctly. Now, obviously, when you reach out to the apprenticeship service, it's called the help desk. It's not really a help desk. They don't even know what they're on about half the time. But look, these changes are coming. So we've got foundation apprenticeships coming out. We've got apprenticeship units. We've got 16 current standards, which is mostly the management and L&D suite, are going from September. So all these changes are happening and coming to effect. There's incentives, but again, it's a focus of 16 to 24-year-olds, which is a shame. And even the level 7 senior leader is only focused for anyone 19 or below. So not that great, right? And which 19-year-olds are going to be doing a senior leader at level 7? I don't know. But hey, if they ever get that level, they are more than welcome to. But I think it is key just to remember that with this landscape changing apprenticeships, there's more changes to come, and this isn't over yet. And for someone that's in the apprenticeship industry, keeping up to date with this has been a nightmare. I'm going to the Skills Alliance, the Multicultural Skill Alliance meeting this month, and to see some of these policymakers and things that are going to be there, and I'm going to question them frantically on this, because I just think it's nuts. But again, I can question and ask and try and have a solution and a way forward, because the problem I have now is these decisions are made. There's nothing I can do about it. As employers, there's something we can do. The decisions are made. And I went to a similar event back in January, and the discussions were around about how we're going to get the funding back for level 7 for everybody else. And it's kind of, guys, level 7's gone. It's gone. What? We ain't going to get it back. It's gone. See you later. But what's the alternate? What can we do to replace it? What can we do to get it going? How can we do this? So I think that's the key, is we just have to adapt now as employers. If some of these qualifications that are missing or going in September, fill your career development pathways, start looking at alternatives for your providers. Just be mindful, do an ethical audit on your providers to make sure they're financially viable past September, and that most of their delivery was not focused on the ones that are gone, because unfortunately there's an episode I did before which was called Enough One Bites the Dust. That's coming again. So yeah, some providers will disappear. But yeah, what can I say? This is the change of apprenticeships. This is the Labour government for you. Congratulations. We are losing some of our levy and other bits and pieces, but that's another story. So guys, look, thank you for bearing with me again for another long episode on the updates from the government in relation to apprenticeships, and I hope you found it helpful and useful. Is there anybody you know that might be interested to listen or get some really good advice and guidance from listening to what I've said, please share it with them. Remember, you can follow, like, share my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and places wherever you get your podcasts. What I will do over the next few episodes is I will update on any further updates from the government, any changes in the funding rules. There's also funding changes in the assessment processes and practices that's coming as well. But also, I will probably do a bit more of a deeper dive in some of these foundation apprenticeships that are coming out, or apprenticeship units as well, just so you know how that's going. So bear with me on those ones, guys, because it will come out. But again, thank you for listening. Remember to like, share, and I will see you on the next episode.